Hello, welcome to the Warley Lockdown Live stream for Wednesday, the 3rd of March. So, welcome to all those who are watching. I hope you can hear me. Hope you can see me. I haven't got my lights up today here, but I'm just working on the camera. So, we're starting to get viewers in now. So, we've got a couple of viewers joining. So we'll give it a few moments. Yep, we've got a couple more coming in now. So welcome to the stream. So this week we've got a club member, Chris Morris, joining us. So hello, Jason. Welcome to the stream. So this week we're joined by a club member, Chris Morris. So Chris looks after the finance for the exhibition, but he is a modeller, and he's got a couple of layouts. He's got an engaged layout he's building, which he'll show us. And he's got a garden railway, which will be interesting. Something I'll be definitely interested in doing maybe for the future, especially with my air gauge. But what we'll do, we'll bring Chris in and we'll have a chat with Chris. I think he's in the shed. So are you all ready for us, Chris? Can you give me a quick thumbs up? Yeah, so okay. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Andy.
How you doing? It's been a while since we've seen each other.
Certainly
it's been a while.
Yeah, missing the club and all the people. You know, all the stupid chats we have. You know.
Absolutely. But I suppose that's a good thing about things like this. You can we can interact still and have a good chat, and as Martin would say, we chew the fat.
Yeah, that's it.
So let's talk about your role as part of the exhibition team, because you're a big part of the exhibition. What do you normally do?
Really. All I do is I just look after the money, really. So all through the year, every week of the year, there's something to do, because obviously during the course of the year, there's the trade exhibitors have to pay their deposits, and we have to pay money out to the NEC. And there's all sorts of other little bits and pieces. There's expenses to do with the shows, advertising. So basically, any income or expenditure to do with the show, I post it to the accounts, and also I sort of post it in the bank as well. So so it's one of those things that, so every week of the year there's something to do. Although the last year there hasn't been, of course, but every year, every week, just a little bit to do. And then when it comes to the weekend of the exhibition, well, to be honest, me and the little team don't really get to see much of the show because we're busy, locked away doing other things. But the most important thing is to keep with accounts, is to keep going. You got to keep on top of it. You can't leave it for a month and catch up, because that makes it just so hard.
Yeah, keep us all in line with how much we can spend and not spend. It's a big job for me, really.
Yeah, well, I don't have any control over who's allowed to spend what. All I do is just either spend it and account for it. I'll let others decide what can be done and what can't be done.
The safest way, really.
Yeah.
Just sit there counting the money.
That's it. That's all I do.
So that's good. It's a big, for me, it's still a big part of the show, and we couldn't do the show without your sort of input. So it is a big part, and you are sort of appreciated for what you do, because not a lot of people would want to sit hidden away in an office during the weekend when there's so much going on.
No, that's right. I mean, one thing I'm saying, if my current layout ever gets to go to the NEC, I'm going to say, look, I can't do both. Either I take the layout and don't look after the finances, or I don't take the layout, because it's trying to do both. I've done it before, and it's too much.
It is hard work. I appreciate that. I know exactly where you're coming from. I was going to take my layout to the show this year, but with my role with supporting Nigel, I think it'd be too much. So I've pulled my layout out, unfortunately.
It's hard.
So
yeah,
I think Nigel's going to be ragged this year.
So it's a good finance team, though. So they can cope over the weekend without me. I know that. They're very
You
good.
trained them well.
Well, no, we've all just picked it up as we've gone along because we're all
Okay.
amateurs,
Uh,
like everybody else.
so I think if we maybe start off with, you've built a layout in your garden, haven't you? So
Yeah,
shall we bring in introduction video and show the introduction video to your garden first?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so if I bring that into the stream.
Hi, and welcome to the Quinton line. Here is the California Zephyr. Not all of my locos have sound. Here are a pair of Bud rail cars that have no sound. They do gleam nicely in the sunshine though. My larger locos run on DC track power at 24 volts, and the power supply can give us about 10 amps if we need it. They are quite power hungry. The smaller locos are battery powered radio control. Although we love the summer, the line also does run in the winter. A feature of the Garden Railway community is that we have get-togethers at each other's houses. Here is my SD42 running at a house not far from RAF Cosford. Thanks for watching. That's all. Bye.
That's brilliant, Chris. Thanks for sharing that video.
Yeah, it's good fun,
Really
isn't it?
fun.
Yeah, so
It is.
this scale is quite big and quite heavy. Sorry, I interrupted you, Andy.
Okay, so, how long or when did you start building your garden railway?
Oh, 21 years ago. Started with just a little dog bone at the one end of the garden, and over the next 10 years it sort of grew and grew, and now it's about a 200-foot run right around the garden. In fact, I actually landscaped the garden to suit my needs for the railway.
So the garden's based around the railway rather than fitting the railway in.
Well, not I've designed it so that it doesn't take over the garden, so it just fits in with the garden. So it's there, but it's not sort of, it doesn't sort of shout that it's there, but the garden sort of just works with it, sort of thing. So it's part of it, but it's not necessarily the main feature. It's just part of, it all fits together.
Okay. I think a big question a lot of people ask is about maintenance. Every time you want to run the garden railway, how long does it take you to get ready?
Oh, a few seconds. It all depends. I mean, some of the locos are battery powered, and if it's battery powered radio control, then obviously you don't need to clean the track. It's all on quite a hard surface, so fundamentally under the track I've got sort of bricks and concrete, and then I use horticultural grit as ballast. So the track isn't actually fixed down, it's just ballasted in place with grit. It's kind of like the real thing. And it gets washed away in the winter a bit, so in a month's time I should get a new big bag of grit and reballast where it needs it. But yeah, it sort of just stays there and doesn't take a lot of maintenance. The one thing you have to watch out for, especially when there's been high winds, is you have to move all the twigs and that. Occasionally you get little critters leaving deposits which aren't welcome. And one of the worst things is if the train hits a slug, because a slug that's been hit by a train leaves a gooey mess all over the underside of the train. So it takes a bit of cleaning off. And,
Do you have any problems with leaves?
Not particularly, no. They tend to get knocked out of the way. So no, we don't get no slipping or sliding to a hole. No, it's not really a problem. But it's more dirt. Twigs is a problem because small twigs the locos will go over or push out the way, but bigger ones can derail them.
Yeah.
One sort of funny incident of a night where I was sort of train's going around in the dark and suddenly it just stopped and it had hit a frog. So we went up to the garden and there's the loco on its side and the frog upside down.
Yeah, a very curious looking frog.
Yeah. I think he recovered and ran off. So, it's not quite a dead frog point.
And we noticed you run trains in all weather, so summer conditions obviously it's nice in the garden, but even in the winter.
Yeah, I just go out. If it snows, it's got to be done, hasn't it? Really, you got to get out there. I actually got a snow plough, which I think you saw in the video. Yeah, it's just a few seconds of it. Yes, and it does actually move the snow pretty well, as long as the snow's right. It has to be the right type of snow. It has to be sort of that light, fluffy stuff. Once it's frozen, it's no good because it's too hard. And because the temperature has to be right, because if the temperature is sort of 1 degree or more, I can run track power. But if it's colder than that, you clear the snow and ice immediately forms on the rails. So of course track power won't work. But even with battery power, it's too rough to run. Okay. They start bobbing along on the ice. So temperature has to be just right, and the snow has to be just right. But it's great to see you doing a bit of ploughing.
Okay. And in terms of power for powering your outdoor layout, the garden layout, is it? You mentioned batteries and track power.
Yeah, the G-scale locos generally can cope with a maximum of about 22 to 24 volts. And some of the big ones can pull quite a few amps. Certainly they'll pull 2.5 to 3 amps, some of them. So your ordinary controller just wouldn't push them along. Funny enough, the lights seem to take more power than the motors. Because if you're running a double-headed train, you've got to have well over 5 amps to be sure of pulling it. So I've got quite a big power supply. Actually, it's the power supply meant for the for lighting, but it does the job excellently. And then I use a very old-fashioned radio control system, which it hasn't been on sale for about 20 years now, but it does the job very nicely. So I can actually, from one handset, I can control both the loco and the points. Because one thing you find out quite early on in garden railways is you need to have remote control, because otherwise you're inside controlling the trains that are enjoying themselves outside. You want to be out there with them. So that's something to consider if you're going outdoors. Is yes, you need some form of remote control, and infrared doesn't tend to work outdoors, so you need some form of radio control.
Okay. And your battery locos, what sort of batteries do you use, and the power supply for those?
Well, I'm a very simple person on this. I just use the ordinary rechargeable batteries that you can just buy in any shop. Some people say, yeah, you should really use the lithium-ion batteries, which are better, but you need to sort of have the right charges. You need to be careful charging them up, and you mustn't let them get drained too much. So I just stick with the ordinary NIMH batteries. It's the ordinary rechargeables. It's either triple A's or double A's. Hang on a sec. Yeah, this is one of my radio control ones, and you can see there's just the complete set of batteries to power it. Put that back. So yeah, it works well. I always have. They're the smaller ones, so they run very well off 12 volts. So I just sort of have a charger which will charge up 10 batteries at a time, and I've got a little socket on the each loco, so I just plug it in and leave it for a few hours to charge it. And they generally run sort of, they'll do about 2.5 hours on a charge, which isn't too bad.
It's good.
Well, yeah, because I'm in an exhibition. I'm going to have Thomas at the exhibition all day, and one charge would be enough to keep him running all day, because obviously he's not running all the time. So yeah, here's me. There's Thomas, and that's against battery, full of batteries. That is.
Can you show that again, Chris? Because you just paused when you were.
That's right. Yeah. So that's Thomas, and he's full of batteries as well, and he's got a sound card in him, so he provides lots of entertainment if we go to exhibitions with the club's G-scale layout.
So, are most of your locos scratch built, or are they off-the-shelf items?
They're all just off-the-shelf items, apart from my PPM 50, which is currently outside on the track, which we can go out to.
Shall we ever go and have a nose?
Yes, it could be interesting. I can't guarantee how good my photography will be when I go outside. See, I'm already. Hang on. Oh, so that's my radio control unit for the battery ones. Now, where's it gone? Oh, there it is. Look, there's it's a hard control. So there's my PPM 50, which I built myself. Nice realistic squeal from the wheels. It's gone. There it is. Get very good control with this. Yeah, I think that's just the body catching a bit as it goes along. And off it goes. Bring it back. Duck. Yep, so that's me, my PPM 50 in the latest livery, of course. The West Midlands livery, which they're now painted in. And the whole, there you can see the track goes right the way down the far end of the garden. And somewhere along here, that's my main station. I don't, in the winter, I take the buildings in, but there's in there in the summer. I'm going to go back into the warm now.
I don't blame you. So, how do you build your buildings? Are they plastic or wood or?
Well, some of them I bought because that's, again, it's easier. And
We lost you again.
Because you can do wood, but if you do wood, they don't last all that many years. No matter how careful you are, the water gets into them. But yeah, so most use plastic card and big sheets of thick plastic card and good waterproof cement from being Cuba, really. They seem to last by doing that. But yeah, obviously the buildings have got an American feel to them because most of my locos are American. But one of the great things about a garden railway is really most people don't worry about what they're running. You know, quite often you'll see trains from different continents all running on the same line. And I think the view of garden railway people is, well, it's the sun shining, who cares, you know. We just like to see trains running.
Yeah.
It's very little sort of total scale because the plants don't grow to scale anyway. No matter how hard you try, they won't grow to scale. So, yeah, it's a different philosophy really to indoors. Well, for me it is. Indoors, I won't run anything which isn't exactly right. But outdoors, if it looks good, I'll run it.
Yeah, as long as you're enjoying yourself.
So, yeah, that's my outside. I mean, the locos are really heavy. It takes two hands to lift it. They're all weighted, and the trains. I mean, when you get a G scale, even a fairly short train, say sort of nine wagons, is going to be 20 foot long. So you need quite a lot of room. Although you can obviously run shorter trains.
Yeah. Have you got some live steam as well, locos?
So yeah, that's the garden. I mean, obviously with track power, you have to clean the track every so often, but in the summer you can get away with cleaning the track about once every month. You know, it's not too bad. And I use sort of kind of like a big track rubber. It's kind of like the Pico track rubber, only a lot bigger. Again, that's called a Gary Flex block. So it's not meant for garden railways, but it just happens to work very well for them.
And have you got some live steam, Chris, as well?
Probably about all I can say on the garden railway. I mean, I suppose what I could do is I could fire up Thomas, because he's got a sound unit and the same controller that I was using for the one outside. We'll run this one as well. And as he goes along, his eyes move as well. So that's just a standard Bachmann loco, that one. Although they were reasonably priced, but like most of the Bachmann things, they're a little bit more than they used to be.
Yeah. Good. Have you got some live steam on your garden as well?
So should we go on to talking about indoors now?
Yeah, I was going to say, have you got any live steam locos for your garden?
I can't hear you, Andy.
Oh, can't you? Okay.
I still can't hear a thing.
Okay.
Hang on. Oh, that's better.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay, so have you got any live steam locos for your garden?
I've got just the one, yeah. One's enough, I think, because they ain't cheap. But yeah, that was my 60th birthday present. It was a nice live steamer. It's obviously fully radio controlled, so you just put the water into the required level, put the gas in till it starts to leak out, and light it. Give it a few minutes to get steam up, and it'll run for about 25 minutes. The kit.
I suppose that takes a bit more driving than just a normal.
Oh yes, yeah. You can't just let it run round. You have to actually be on the controls all the time, because steam is very much, if the uphill it needs a lot of power, and downhill you really have to have the power off, otherwise it would just run away with you. It's a very powerful machine, works very well, but yeah, you have to control it. So you don't let anybody else play with that.
Mm-hmm.
Live steam's best outdoors, I've found, because I've run it on the club's G-scale out a couple of times. Well, quite a few times now, but I kind of set fire to out a couple of times because you fill the gas up, and you fill it up with gas until the gas starts to come out. Now outdoors, that's great because the gentle breeze, the little bit of gas that's escaped dissipates. Indoors, it doesn't. So it sits there by the loco. And when you try to light the flame, suddenly you find that you're singeing where the loco is as well. So,
Okay.
So I've kind of been banned from doing that in public anymore.
Shall we have a look at your indoor layouts then, your engage layouts?
Yeah.
So shall we show the video? Do I show the video first, or do I have a walk around first?
Well, I suppose we could do a walk around.
Okay.
Very hard for me to see what I'm doing. Start at the far end. It's called Dawlish Warren. I can't see what I'm doing here, but this is the far end. This is the estuary end. And what I've done at the estuary end is I've took photographs of the estuary at Exmouth, sitting just underneath the railway doing it, and I've printed that out and stuck it to the wall. Then moving around, you've got right in the corner there's something called Eels Dock. Then you've got my nod to the caravanning of Dawlish Warren there. Great Western Signal Box. Hang on. Oh, I lost the signal box. Hang on. It's ever so hard to drive a phone. Yeah. Oh, there it is. There's the signal box. All scratch built. Because of course, if you're trying to make a model of an actual building, an actual place, then you've got no choice but to scratch build it. And like, there's the station building. That was built in the 1920s. In the 1980s and 1990s, it was actually a railway museum, Southern Railway Museum. It got burnt down, I don't know, 2004-ish, got burnt down. And now there's a replica of a signal box. There's a house which is a replica of a signal box there. And if I can find it, Yeah, there's the other one, which is oh, it's not hard to do this. Oh yeah, there's the that's the upstation building. No, the downstation building. That was actually in 1920s. It was built to be the same as the one on the other side, but in the late 20s, that went down and replaced by a corrugated iron structure, which stayed there till about 1990, I think. We've got the footbridge, which was there till again about 1990. Quite interesting, sort of when you model a real place, you sort of have to do quite a lot of research. The ice cream parlour, which is still there, you can still buy. In fact, I bought an ice cream from that last year. It's bigger now than it was, and it's painted. No, it's actually wood colour now. It was painted white for a while. So there's the ice, and you got little duets for ice creams. That building is the Warren stores. Now, that building is still there, but over the years, it's gone from having a flat roof to a pitched roof, and it's been extended. But it's definitely the building that was originally there. And we get the camping coaches, and above that, the Mount Pleasant Inn. Then the Victorian footbridge. There should be about 3 foot of engage between the footbridge and the camping coaches, but you got to compromise somewhere. Then we get Langstone Rock at the end. Hope this is viewable. And then a little bit of seawall. Yeah, that's Langstone Rock again. Oh, and me. So, and again, at the end there, I've tried to make the scenery fit in. So the layout goes around the bend, but they try to give the impression of it carrying on along the seawall. So that's about all I can say about the layout itself. You know, it's only taken me, I think, sort of 16 months to get this far from scratch, from starting out. Mainly because, of course, with lockdown, I've been rather not much else you can be doing, is there? You know.
How big is the layout?
It's 11'6" by 40 inches.
Okay, so it's a good size. And do you think we'll see it at the exhibition one year?
It's possible, yeah. I think subject to negotiations, yes. Yeah, I mean, it'd be good to take it to the NEC, obviously, because it's, you know, biggest show in the country, isn't it? So it's always good to be there. Yeah, I don't want to go to many exhibitions with it. I'm probably thinking, you know, half a dozen exhibitions maximum, because it's primarily for me rather than for shows. Whereas the last layout I built would go in the back of the car and was designed to be a size that would fit in the back of the car. This one is designed to fit in a room, and it's not really sort of so easily transportable. It'll need a van to move it.
Yeah. Okay, which is all good stuff, and it's come a long way in a quite a short time. So 16 months is it's quick work to get that far with it.
Yeah, that's the advantage of being retired as well, you see.
So what else is planned for the layout now? What's next to do
it's
with
almost
it?
finished. I need to tidy up the ballast, but actually I've just got to the stage where it's pretty much complete. I'll probably add a bit more greenery because there's not quite enough greenery on it yet. But no, it's as of this week, it's all very close to being done. It's just a case of a little bit of titivating here and there. I've got to finish off my rear control panel because I think it might go to exhibitions. I've got a front control panel. Oops, it's so hard to use this. That's my front control panel there, and these are rather than go for a diagram. I've just gone for switches with a description of what each one does across the top. But I kind of quite like that. So these do the select a road in the fiddle yard. That selects whether it goes to platform or through. And these do the signals, because it's quite important to me to have working signals.
That's fantastic. Shall we run the video now that you've got of Dawlish Warren? So if I
Very, very short.
That's brilliant, Chris. It really is good when you look at a layout and you don't know what scale it is. You would never know that was only N gauge from the video.
Right.
So it really is it's a fantastic job. Nice to see some dirty blue diesels.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got stock for 4 different time slots. I've got 1959 stock, which of course is mainly steam with just 1 diesel. 1963 stock, which is pretty much the same coaches and everything, and freight, but has got westerns in all sorts of colours. 1968 stock, which is what I'm running at the moment and was running in that film, which gives you that mix of maroon and green and obviously the blue. And then I've got another set of stock which is more generic, sort of the mid to late 1980s, with a couple of HSTs and then things like that. So yeah, I'm very strict that I only ever buy stock that would have run in South Devon, and they have to be the right era. They have to fit. I only run stuff which all fits together. So where's outside, I don't care. On the N gauge, it has to be exactly right.
Perfect.
And yeah, I do weather everything. It's all fairly subtle weathering, but I just sort of give them a bit of black on the roof and a bit of sort of frame dirt on the bogies and the chassis. Because of course, diesel especially went through the washing plants. So although they lost a bit of paint in the washing plants, diesels are largely clean on their sides.
Yeah. So
that's the effect I go for. So people don't notice that they're weathered particularly. That's the idea. You shouldn't. If it looks like it's been weathered, then that's possibly too heavy. If people don't notice, then it's probably about right. That's my philosophy anyway.
Yeah, I used to go to Dawlish and Teamuth as a youngster, and I used to love walking along the wall. I was probably about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And the one thing I always remember is nothing ever looks absolutely filthy. The below the doors, and the frames, yeah, they were a bit grubby, but they did do a good job of keeping the stock fairly clean, and the
Oh
locos, in
yeah,
fact, to be fair.
yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. Some of them, yes, there is dirt on the sides, but vast majority, especially in the summer when the weather's not so bad, yeah, they tended to say the sides stayed quite good. But like I say, some the especially our paint plant, washing plant was famous for removing paint. But I haven't gone that far. But some people do actually weather them and do actually try and replicate that effect of the paint having been rubbed off by the washing machines.
So
That's
we've got a couple of comments. We've got a couple of comments for you, Chris. So Jason's asking, is it DC controlled?
It's just pure DC, yeah. No, I find that it's for me on this layout, DCC wouldn't be helpful. I get nice, slow, smooth running. Whereas I like sound on the G scale because you can get a nice big speaker. I still don't like sound on the small scales because you can't get that depth of sound. It might be accurate sound, and yes, it is good, accurate sound, but physically, you're never going to get that big depth to it. Sometimes I do run with synchronized sound, so I can press a button on the phone and actually get a big speaker to emulate the sound of what that train would be doing. And the great thing about that is, if I use the right speaker, I can actually make the floor vibrate as the diesel goes past me, which I like, but other people in the house aren't so keen on for some reason.
Yeah. Don't upset the boss.
Well, that's it.
Jason also said the force perspective is brilliant on the layout, and he didn't expect it to be engaged. He thought it was double O. So
Right.
that's quite a compliment there, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I'll take that as a good compliment. Yeah.
so if anyone's got any questions for Chris in the who are watching, pop it in the chat, and we'll try and ask the question.
Yeah, so going back to my last Engage layout, that was in the railway modeler, and they got lots of photographs of it in the modeler, but a lot of it was all close-up photos. And when people saw that at exhibitions, they thought, "Oh, we didn't realise it was that small." So when you get the impression, it's when you see close-up photographs of Engage, you do feel it's bigger than it actually is.
Mm.
But, yeah, I don't know whether I can show you around the back. I think it'd be too hard for me to get around. But yeah, that's probably about all I've got to say about it.
Yeah. Jason's asking, what's your favourite part of the layout to build?
Ooh, hard to say, really. I mean, I've loved all the challenges because you start off with nothing and you go, okay, so how am I going to achieve it? The first thing I did before actually starting building the layout was I built some of the buildings because I wasn't confident I could do that. I've only made scratch built one Engage building before. So I actually started work on the building before I started work on the layout. But I do like greening things up. If I sort of, my cliffs there with all that greenery on, I do like doing that. It's easy and it's quick, but I just love it. It's a nice and relaxing job to be doing. And also I've got on this greenery now, I don't know if you can see on this, oops. I don't know if you can see, but I put a few blobs of paint on the woodland scenics foliage and then stretch it out. It looks like you've got nice flowers on the bushes.
Also asking, how did you create the sandstone rock?
Oh, that's very old-fashioned. I tried using polystyrene and cutting that, and I didn't get on with that at all because I couldn't get the shape I wanted. So I've done the really old-fashioned thing of a bit of chicken wire, bit bit of plaster bandage on top of it, and a bit of polyfiller. And well, while the polyfiller was wet, I sort of scored it with a brush. I went over with a brush to give the sort of the ridges and the roughness to it. And then I just found a couple of pots of paint, really tester pots, in the colours which looked about right, and sort of used the two mixed together, and so they get slight differences in shade. Yeah, so it's very simple, really.
It's effective though.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased with it, because that was an important thing, that the rocks had to be right, really. Yeah, Langstone rock itself is actually about half the size it should be. The height is about right, but it should stick out twice as far, but there wasn't room, so it couldn't.
I suppose that's really the iconic feature of the area, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
the rock. So it's it's important to have it there, but you've got to keep it in. Obviously, keep within space you've got.
That's it. Yeah. Well, trying to make a model of a real place, it's compromise all the way through. You got to say so basically, what are the hard points? What bits are essential that have to be there and have to be right, and what bits can you sort of take liberties with? So Langstone rock it's about the right height, but it's shorter than it should be. I was actually picking up the heights of everything from studying Ordnance Survey maps really closely to try and work out what the actual heights were. So I think it's about right. The platforms are pretty much scale length, but like I say, the bit between the camping coaches and Langstone rock is about 3 or 4 foot too short. But in real life, all this is a bit of, it's that sort of unused car park and some building bits, so it's not very interesting anyway, so I didn't mind missing that bit
out. Question about modern stock. How modern do you sort of go? Was it sort of 80s, or do you go moderner than that?
The latest I've got is 1980s. I'm tempted by the Cato are bringing out an 800 class this year. Must say, I'm very tempted to get one of those in Great Western livery, of course. Because if you go there today, you can't avoid seeing those zooming by. So it's tempting, although it doesn't fit in with my time period. But one reason for stopping with in the 1980s is that in the late 80s, all the semaphores went, signal box went, so the place changed quite dramatically. Where between 1950s and 1980s, it didn't change that much. But late 1980s, say signals went, the points configuration changed as well. So instead of having a trailing points between the lines, they had facing points, so they could run trains on both lines through the seawall section, which is good when the weather was bad. So that's kind of why I stuck at the end of the 1980s. And there's a limit to how much stock it can have.
Enough limit how much you can spend, really, I suppose. You can end up spending an absolute fortune if you're not careful.
Yeah, you can. So you have to have limitations, I think.
That's been good. It's been really good talking to you about it, really. So just see if there's any more questions that are coming in for you, Chris. No, we've got 16 people watching at the moment, watching live. So that's good. So we've got quite a good audience again. So that's been good. So what's the plans next? Once you finish Dawlish, what are you planning to do next in terms of modelling?
I don't know yet. I think I'm planning to say, right, once lockdown's over, I'm planning to get out and enjoy myself, because I've been missing going out. And I think also the next big project is to get the club's Hawes Junction working properly, so I can have a rest from my own and concentrate on that, I think. Because the Hawes Junction, it looks great It's a lovely layout, but it needs quite a bit more work on the running to get the running up to where we need it to be. So that's probably going to be something which will keep me busy the rest of the year, actually, getting that into good order with a few other club members when we're allowed to start work on it, which hopefully won't be too long ago.
Absolutely. We're just waiting on the PM to allow clubs to reopen again, and I'm sure we'll be back in the club rooms again. So as soon as that happens and we get the okay.
Yeah, that's it. So I think that's my next thing, is getting Hawes Junction running the way we want it to run.
And again, that'd be another good future video.
Yeah. I think it's a great layout, really is. But let down by its running at the moment. I think one of the problems is it's such a big thing. You don't realise, oh yeah, this is a great layout, it's a great idea. But once you build it, there's a lot, and it's big, and it's challenging purely because it's so big and there's so many points and things that need to work perfectly. And of course, modelling a real places tend to like single slips and double slips. I think possibly especially the Midland Railway. So there's a lot of slips on it, and slips are a right pain to get working right. Getting the electrics right on them.
I just avoid them like the plague. Just stick to normal points if you can help it.
Yeah, that's good advice, I think.
So again, another question from Jason. When and where can we hope to see the layouts on display?
Well, like I say, I mean, I was probably nothing this year because everyone's exhibition this year, if they happen, will be with last year's layout sort of thing. Obviously, the NEC is a possibility. I've got nothing agreed with anybody else, but Taunton, the Railix at Taunton, which is usually in October, that's a possibility. The Hornby Magazine show at Milton Keynes, Great Electric Train Show, again is a possibility, but nothing's been agreed at all. I haven't been invited or anything yet, but it's a possibility. So I've spoken with Mike Wild, and that's about all at the moment. Although I have had just one little message with the guy who runs the Exeter show. So it might end up going to Exeter, which would be fantastic, because of course the people will know the location extremely well. So that could be either very good or very bad, really. But that's about it so far. And like I said, I don't plan to go to many, although it'd be kind of nice to go to something in the north of the country.
But have to even get a van and take it up to Glasgow one year maybe.
Yeah, that might work. Yeah, if they invite me, of course.
That's it. I can put a good word in for you.
Oh, thanks, Andy. Yeah,
it's all right. But no, it's been good. I'll see if we've got any more questions coming in. So no, it's been good. So we've had 55 minutes with you, Chris. So it's been great.
Yeah,
great talking to you.
Yeah, it's been nice. Thanks, Andy.
So it's been really good. See if I don't know if we get it. I just wonder if I can see if we've got any more questions. But so we've got no more coming in. So that's great. So I don't suppose you got anything on there, Jacob. Is that still going, or your old layout?
No, it's in the bin.
Is it in the bin? Okay.
Yeah. Once they've gone, mate. That's it. So, yeah, you can run a train there. There you go. Nice double-headed quarters.
That's been good.
Oh, didn't do the signal. Never mind.
Paul Jones is watching at the moment. He's saying maybe a trip to Leeds.
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Because obviously, no one's going to be organising next year's shows just yet, anyway, are they? So
Yeah, it's a bit eager at the moment.
well, I think they got to. I mean, often exhibition managers have got a plan for the next few years, but of course, I think they just want to get this year's show done before they think about going any further and see how everything goes. But yeah, it's I'm in no rush to go to places, so but it'd be nice to go to a few. And Leeds, yeah, why not? If, like I say,
if you get an invoice. Jason's put a link to one of your videos in the chat, so if you want to go and see a bit more of Dawlish Warren, look at the link and you can see a bit more, because we did feature you at the virtual event, didn't we? We featured a couple of videos in the build up to it,
and I'll be doing a bit of filming for the Engage Forum is having a virtual exhibition in July, I think, so I'll be doing a bit of filming of this for that event as well.
Okay, do you know the date of that, Chris? Or
I don't, unfortunately. I know it's either June or July. I think it must be July, but off the top of my head, I don't know, unfortunately.
Okay, so that's something to look forward to if you're an Engage modeler. So check out. I'm sure they've got a website, so I'm sure if you go on the website, you're about to get a bit more information about that.
Yeah, it's the Engage Forum. What I can do is I'll find out the date and I'll let you know, Andy, so you can publicise it when it happens.
Yeah, we'll post something on our social media, post something on Facebook. While we're talking about virtual events, the Gaujo Guild have got an event coming up this Saturday on the 6th of March between 9:30 and 5. So just go to thegaujoguild.com and check out their virtual events. So this Saturday on the 6th. So if you're free and you want to look at some bigger scale of modelling, that'd be worth checking out as well. So that's worth a look. And again, social media, our friends at WWS who have kindly supported the club in recent years with static grass applicators have got a modelling competition they're going to launch this weekend. So that'd be worth looking at. And the list of prizes for the competition is fantastic. About £200 worth of prizes, static grass applicators, static grass. So that'd be worth looking at. So
again, all my static grass is WWS.
There you go. There's another plug for Martin at WWS. So yeah, I think Jason's just put a link into wwscenics.com. So again, if you want to check that out, he's done a link for the Gaujo Guild. So thank you, Jason, for that. But yeah, again, there's three different sort of social media channels to look at for help and guidance with modelling and video scenics. And also the Gaujo Guild. I think there's a big Dapple announcement as well. So again, be worth checking out. So it's been brilliant. Well, Chris, thanks very much. Thanks for thanks for allowing us to visit you in your the home.
Thanks, Andy.
That's great. I think you've got some babysitting duties now.
That's right. Yeah.
So okay, well have fun and we'll speak to you soon, Chris.
Yeah. See you, Andy.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
So that's been brilliant. So thanks to Chris. Thanks for joining the stream. I'm going to give you a very quick update of what I've been up to during lockdown. So I've been working on one of the Warley lockdown projects. So I'm just going to change cameras and I'll show you the station area I've been working on. There you go. So it's all mainly Pico kits, Worlds kits. So it's the Pico platform edging, the Worlds platform edging, the station building, the overbridge. So I've started to paint them and work on them. The platform extent, there's a split in the platforms because they're going to be split over two boards, and that's not going to be the position they're going to be on. They're going to be at the other end of the layout. But just for working on it, it's just over the top of the fiddle yard for now, just so I can lay it out and give me an idea. I've also got the Pico canopies I'm building, so I'm just throwing those together at the moment. So that's keeping me busy, keeping me out of mischief. But it's quite a nice length of platform. Easily holds 5 plus the loco, so 5 Mark 1s plus the loco. If I want to bring it layout forward a bit other than blue grey, I could probably comfortably hold something like a 4-car Voyager in the platform. Obviously, the gap where the if I can do it on, get my ruler. So the gap here, show you there. That's where the DPD warehouse is going to go for the loading bay. And I'll probably have another unit next to that, between that and the station building, but that's going to be turned round, so the far side of the platform will be this side here, and the front edge will be this side on the other side of the platform, so that you're looking to the station building from behind. Also, what I've been up to is I've started to look now at the roadbed for the Magna, so I've just got some of this plastic cut to fix on top of there. So I'm going to go all the way along here, and it's going to go under the road bridge. So I've got to cut all that. I've got to carry on cutting this out and working my way around. I've also started to build a road bridge for the to go at the far end of the station before the that will go in before the tunnel portal. So that'd just be a road over over the station. But that's sort of keeping me out of mischief and keeping me busy. But yeah, just to go show again. So you got your 5 Mark 1s built in with a class 25. Again, it's just over the top of the fiddle yard for now. So the fiddle yard is pretty much the length of those boards. So eventually I'm going to chop. I'm going to cut the boards. I'm going to and then split it. All the wires, all the droppers are in for the fiddle yard. But once I've done that, then I can then work my way back across the two boards and fit in the viaduct and lay the track across the viaduct. Once I've got the plastic down for the Magna Rail, I'll go test that. So that's giving you an idea of what I've been up to. So yeah, back onto this camera. So it is quite a short video this week. So Chris was tidying, clearing everything for an hour. But it's been really good to see Chris's layout. So it's going to be probably a slightly shorter stream than normal. So if anyone's got any questions for me while I'm on, throw them at me now. Next week we've got Hornby magazine, so we've got Mike Wild joining us, and possibly Richard from Hornby magazine. So the only difference being it will be an earlier video. We're going to start at 1 next week as opposed to starting at 2, so it'll be 1 till 3. So again, it'll be back a bit longer video, but we are going to start earlier. So hopefully if you're available to join us then, join us at 1 o'clock. Also, I want to say a big thank you to Hornby for last week. So last week, if you haven't watched the video already, really do watch it. We did an hour modelling with Michael. So we did some ballasting. And we did, showed you that, what we did. So I did the modelling, so I showed you how to ballast, how to lay track. We showed you about weathering the track by using dry brushing techniques, by using the copper paint to paint the chairs. We laid the ballast, which we did on video. With this, we used on this one. I used different types shades of ballast. So I started with like a buff ballast, and it faded into the grey ballast as you went along. Grey blend, and this is just a grey blend. We just showed by using different colours of ballast, you can get really nice effects. So it's using different colours. We used the brown painting with the glue to ballast when we glued the ballast down, just to give it some tones to start to weather it. And then what I've done with this then is I've used once all the glue dried, I used a Humbrol brown weathering wash and a black wash, and just added some more sort of dirt and grime to it. The black didn't work as well, but the brown does work quite well. So doing it again, I wouldn't use the black wash because it went a bit clumpy and lumpy. I don't know if it's the wash or whether it's me. I don't know. But the brown does work really well. I also, while we did it, we added some detail as well. So I added wheels, cable trunking, scale model scenery, to show you. So scale model scenery, cable trunking, some bits of rail. Again, scale model scenery is for the drainage, and then WWS static grass. But that's quite a nice scene, and when you add a loco to it, the back scene on it does really sort of looks good. Again, I can't see it. I can't put it. So it's not on the track properly, but it just goes to show you, it's a good way to practice. Get a small area. You can put it on a windowsill or a shelf, and you can show off your locos. This is just a Hornby Class 66. So I think it's quite an old model, but it's sort of railroad sort of quality. But weathered it looks alright. So I put that down before I knock it over or damage it. So that's it. I think that's it for us this week. So thanks for joining. Don't forget WWS competition. So there's a link to that in the chat. Gaujo Guild on Saturday. So go and join the Gaujo Guild for the Dapple announcements, modelling. So that'd be worth checking out if you're free Saturday. And we'll see you next Wednesday at 1:00 for the Hornby Magazine special. So we'll see you next week. Have a good week. Enjoy your modelling, and we'll see you next week.